Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. If you could go back, it's Zach's first job search and he's getting ready to put his applications in and walk through that experience. What is some advice you would give yourself? Like maybe you're fresh out of college or you're ready to start officially applying for jobs.
Yeah, so I rewind my life and I look at all the mistakes. And that's why I wrote The Hot Seat: How to Meet the Challenge of a New Era in Job Interviewing, my first book, because I actually went through 50 companies with over 250 interviews before I landed my very first job in pharmaceutical sales. And
Okay.
so it's a difficult industry to get into, and everybody told me that. Same with what your audience is telling me today, is that virtually said it was impossible, but I never gave up. And what I would say, one of the things I would have changed is I did exactly what you asked me to do. Is like when you were asking me earlier, when people are sitting around applying for jobs. So I did that a lot. I did that for the
Hmm.
first 3 months. I was applying to Pfizer and Merck and Eli Lilly and AstraZeneca, and you just name them. Any pharmaceutical company that had an opening in the United States, I applied for. And guess what that got me? No responses. And so as I begin, yeah.
But yeah, I know how that
So
feels.
yeah, and I'm sure some of your audiences out there, they're feeling that too. They've been applying. And so literally I was sending out 400, 500 applications. This was taking me a long time, but I felt like I was doing something when in reality, if you don't get any callbacks, there's something wrong. And there's a lot of competition out there. So I had to break
Right.
through. So I finally swallowed my pride and I started networking with people in the pharmaceutical industry. And what I did was, and this is old school, but it worked because we didn't have LinkedIn when I grew up. So now I would
Mhm.
tell you that's why I keep harping on this LinkedIn thing. Because when I grew up, I sound like I'm old because I am. Like I actually went to the doctor's offices and waited for the
Okay.
reps to come out of the
Yeah.
office. And then I got them in the parking lot and said, "Hey, can I talk to you for 5 minutes?" And so all I'm asking you to do is send a direct message. I'm not asking you to sit outside the parking lot in an
Right.
office. But it's the same concept. Do you see what I mean? Where you're actually getting so I got to know some of the reps. They gave me some feedback how to get in. They let me use their name as I showed them my strengths and my abilities. See, you can't just meet Nancy out in the parking lot and be like, "Excuse me, I'm Zach. I want to get in pharmaceuticals. Will you recommend me?" Because Nancy's reputation is on the line.
Yeah.
So you have to build those relationships of why she should you're almost convincing Nancy why she should recommend you to her hiring manager.
Mhm.
And the way you do that is you demonstrate your skills. You also see what they're looking to do. You want to have their best interest in mind. Nancy, what do you want to do with your career? What would you like to advance to? How do you enjoy your job? So you take in a personal interest into their career. It's almost like that golden rule: do unto others as you would do unto you, or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah. So see, I love that because I tell like the people that listen, I'm like, hey, to get the results that no one is getting, you have to do things that no one is doing. And so no one was sitting in doctor's office waiting for medicinal reps to come through and walk in and out. And you did that and that got you into the industry. And so I think that's such a key. Do things that no one else is doing. Break the rules of what you're supposed to do and reach out and talk to people. That's kind of what I tell people. I'm like, man, send a message on LinkedIn. So let's say some people are hearing this, they're dead scared to send this message. Give them some like some encouragement on what should they expect, or maybe if you can off the top of your head think of what should this message look like. Would you mind sharing that?
Yeah, so I'd encourage them to get an alcoholic drink first. No, I'm joking. I think we all have a fear of rejection if we're really deep down think about it. And I had to when I first started in sales, I didn't hear a no.
Right.
And you have to get over that first because they teach you in sales, you have to hear a no first in order to get a yes. So it was easy the way they trained me in my mind. But I
Yeah.
was, when I first came out of college, hey, I didn't, sometimes I still don't want to hear no. Let's just be honest. Nobody wants to hear no.
Yeah.
And so I think you have to mentally prepare for it. And you have to be, the more you hear it, the more you get accustomed to it, the more you don't care. And so you're terrified to send that first message. The worst they're probably going to do, honestly, is ignore you. And so who cares? Like they saw it, you seen it, you tried.
Mhm.
But the best thing that can happen to you is they say, "Hey, Josh, my name's Zach. I actually am passionate about helping people with their careers. Let's connect. I'm busy this week, but maybe Monday we could give you a call." Take advantage of that opportunity. Don't quit that network. This is a lot of people make this mistake. They reach out one time.
Eh,
What good does that do? They don't
right.
get to know. You have to keep that relationship fresh. And I just talking to a college the other day, Drake University, and they were like, "How do I keep that conversation going?" And you have to find that way to keep it going. A lot of times, though, after I talk to somebody or mentor them, I'll say, "Now, if you have any questions along your career journey, feel free to ask me." And Josh, 99% of the time, nobody asks me any questions after that.
Mhm.
So they don't really follow up with me. But
Right.
wouldn't it be nice to follow up with a question like, "Hey, Zach, I had a question about this. You were telling me about the speaking industry. This is what you need to do to get started. Do you recommend any nonprofits that I could use?" Write that down once a month to do a touch point, once a quarter. What I do with my network of 3,000 people on LinkedIn, I make sure it's a pain in the rear, but I do it. I tell everybody happy anniversary and their job. If they get a new job, they get a congratulations from me and a
Right.
happy birthday. And that's how I'm able to keep my network strong. So find creative ways to do that. Don't
Yeah.
be afraid to send that message. I'm telling you, it'll change your life.
I would also recommend too, like when you see them posting something, just write a comment. Great content or whatever. I love that video. That was watch their stuff. Let them know that you think they're cool, and they'd be like, "Oh, I feel great about myself." That's a great way to keep your, I think, to keep your network strong. Yeah.
No, that's great advice too, is like you're saying, like if they post something on LinkedIn, a professional does, especially an article they're like, this is a great read. I'd
Hmm.
recommend reading that and commenting on the section. And like you said, the more LinkedIn, people like to have their stuff liked.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, so do
Yeah.
I. If
Me
I
too.
post anything and
Yeah.
only one person likes it, I'm like, well, oh, okay, I guess nobody liked it. So if you're one of them that like my stuff in the comment, then I'm going to notice you and I'm going to remember your name. It's just going to pop out more. And make sure, though, Josh, that I would caution them on this is that if you disagree with them, that's not the time to argue with them or get political or talk about religion. This article sucks or this company's terrible. You really want to keep positive things on LinkedIn because you can see everything you post and everybody else can too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Great advice.